The Federal Reserve recently gave us a major update, announcing earlier today that it would forego rate decreases. As I mentioned in my video from yesterday, I do believe that the rate cut decision will be made next month. It's June 17th, I believe. And in an ideal scenario, where everything is going according to plan, I would watch to see how this market actually responds to the rate decrease. I do believe that we go much higher. In a perfect world, we would also see more trade agreements declared between the United States and other nations. Additionally, we witness equities, reaching fresh all-time highs. Additionally, as the M2 supply grows, liquidity will begin to rise sharply, supporting higher price action for cryptocurrencies overall. Since we believe that Bitcoin's dominance will peak between the end of June and the beginning of July, along with our alt season and bull run, we are now also looking at older coins in anticipation of a possible peak at the end of the year. In an ideal world, that is, we have no idea how this will turn out. We approach each day as it comes. Overall, though, we pay close attention to the Fed's June actions because they are significant. However, it's encouraging to observe that the market as a whole is currently booming. As we can see, many altcoins have had huge increases today. As an example, let me quickly refresh even from the last hour. In the past hour, things have much improved. The world is a sea of green. This is due to the fact that Bitcoin recently reached 97. It did reach roughly 98K. Everyone was getting a little enthusiastic, I guess. I am recording this a bit sooner, once more, since I'm only an hour or two away from going live. We might see higher price activity by then. However, if we truly examine the current state of affairs in this field, the first thing that stands out is that whales are purchasing. Whales are purchasing. As we know, XRP has been purchased by whales. Bitcoin has been purchased by them. Additionally, they have been purchasing particular altcoins. I've also noticed whale activity, or altcoin activity, on a bunch of altcoin wallets. So, over this whole period where we're just sort of chopping sideways, there's obvious purchasing and stockpiling taking place. As an illustration, consider the price activity during the last year, which is comparable to that of March. And I've explained my reasoning to you all because, even if we go back to, say, the March period, if we look at this price action, we're simply selling off, selling off, selling off. Next, take a look at this price action. Nothing is different. We're going to wake up here in a much bigger way, I do think. However, the question here is whether it will occur this month. If we look at the majority of the altcoin market right now, we can see that it is beginning to wake up a little. It's encouraging to note that the old coin season index is beginning to shift in the direction of the old coin season side. Nevertheless, the problem here is that many altcoins are still locked at the same price as they were a few days ago. Here is an illustration of the chart for XRP. Nothing major at all. And we may say that the H-bar, XLM, is the cause of the price activity we see on many old coin charts. There are a lot of ancient coins that are kind of stuck in this sideways price action, which is technically also practically a downturn. We're merely chopping in this manner. This is taking place as a result of the altcoin market. For instance, if we go back over here, the current total value of the cryptocurrency market is approximately 3.02 trillion. There's a good volume here. Well, this market is undergoing some changes at the moment. It's great to see that. However, the majority of the old coin market, or many of the old coins we are examining, are still declining sharply. For example, let's quickly return to the daily even if we examine the CF Green and the market's recent performance. As a result, the top 100 is only up roughly 0.55% on the last day. This is why I say even though we're looking at, some fantastic moves here like 10, 5%, 14, 6% or 8.8, only 0.55% more is in the top 100, just 3% more is in the top 200. As a point of comparison, we aren't really witnessing a lot of movement. Bitcoin is still locked at big lows until we recapture the higher highs on this chart. So it's kind of false around old coins and even around Bitcoin. In regards to XRP, I will state that it is no more unique than any other old coin in this market. You may be whining that XRP is stagnating, but guess what? It's actually selling off. since we are currently monitoring the altcoin market the majority of the time. So is every other old coin in this market. This is the sum of the three. Apart from Bitcoin and Ethereum, this is the previous cryptocurrency market. And you know what? Does this chart show any optimistic price activity at the moment? Indeed, we are still trading below this $8 level, which is over $42 billion, at which we were trading throughout March. By the way, this is a resistance level. We have been denying this, and at this point, we are merely chopping. And if this seems similar, it's because XRP is doing precisely that. The goal of XRP has been to surpass the March highs. Every time it has attempted to break out, it has been unsuccessful in clearing out a higher high on this chart. We therefore keep an eye on the altcoin market for evidence of a much wider expansion overall. And that also applies to HAR, which applies to any old coin, and to XRP. Thus, we still have a great deal of work ahead of us. This $842 billion threshold must be cleared. We must aim for this next important area, which is all resistance between $892 and around $952 billion. Therefore, it's actually quite good price action for us to sort of consolidate here. And we've been consolidating for about 112 days. The same could be said for Bitcoin, as we can see that it is currently seeing a slight upward expansion, which is really encouraging. Well, if we're truly looking at this price move back here, we've been consolidating on Bitcoin for about 108 days now. In the end, we were already trading in a pleasant upward trend, so it did. However, this is the main drive, and we will reach the peak in roughly 77 days. The whole change in the price of Bitcoin was almost 64%. Therefore, we're beginning to push upward now that we're sort of consolidating. It's encouraging to see that we're beginning to establish a positive pattern here. I will now affirm in this video that the Bitcoin structure is indeed quite bullish. We have these pleasant lows down here, you know. Up here, we also experience higher lows, you know. The general structure of Bitcoin is still quite positive, you know. I am not at least worried. Actually, I believe that many of the trade talks and these statements are only catalysts. I don't want to say that they are huge catalysts because they aren't that big, but they are undoubtedly something that could have a significant impact on the markets. As you can see on Bitcoin just by looking at Trump's announcement that a major trade deal will be announced at a large conference today. That's great to see. It also indicates that the trade war and tariff talks are beginning to slow down. It is also, you know, really helpful for markets to have a little breathing room to the upside. Having said that, if you liked this video, please subscribe, like it, and turn on notifications for more free videos. Please feel free to join the free Discord channel in the description below and follow me on Twitter. That being said, this has been Nick, guys. Thank you for viewing. Goodbye.